If your 9-to-5 job gives you a comfortable life, but you have no plan in place to create financial freedom, here's what you need to know. My company, Haroun Education Ventures, has helped over 1 million people learn how to invest or start companies in order to create financial freedom so they can leave their 9-to-5s or retire early. That might sound crazy, but if you stick with me for just 90 seconds, I'll prove to you that financial freedom is not as hard as you might think. But first of all, let's set the record straight on what financial freedom actually means. Let me ask you this. Are you prepared financially if you lose your job? Could you survive for the next year if you didn't make a single dollar all year? And when you retire, can you comfortably live for 20 years or more without generating another dime of income? If not, then you're not financially free. But again, it's not that hard to get there if you just follow what I'll share with you. Now, the true definition of financial freedom is that you have enough to support yourself for the rest of your life and leave something behind for those that you love. That's true financial freedom. And that's exactly what I want to help you start to achieve in the next 6 to 12 months. After managing $1 billion in assets and retiring from Wall Street, I've devoted my life to teaching average everyday people how to become financially free. And I've taught well over 1 million people about building wealth. And I've been featured in Forbes magazine, and I've lectured at many MBA schools, including Stanford, on acquiring capital. And I've sold over 1 million online finance and business programs. And now for the first time, I'm going to guarantee something that nobody has ever guaranteed before. I will give you a custom plan that, if followed, will help your journey to retire early with enough in the bank to support you for 20 years or more. Now, obviously, you have to follow the plan, but this plan will really assist you with getting your financial freedom if you just follow it. And I don't blame you if you're skeptical about how this plan can actually help you. But take a look at our track record. We've helped over 1 million people learn how to create financial freedom in order to think about leaving their 9-to-5s early to pursue a life of freedom and financial independence. And my customers have significantly increased their net worths, successfully changed careers, they've gotten raises, promotions, and much more. There's no gimmicks, no risky new business opportunities that require a ton of money to start, and definitely no trying to squeeze in too many hours of weekly coursework between your job and duties at home. Just a few action steps each month and a custom plan to replace your 9-to-5 income so you can think about retiring early. So here's how you get it. See the link in the description of this video and set up a quick Zoom call with us to see if this is a fit for you and your family. And there's nothing to lose if you sign up because there's a 30-day, 100% money-back guarantee. So obviously we have no incentive to sell you on anything if we don't believe that it will work for you. Click the link in the description of this video to set up a quick Zoom call with us, and we'll get your family on the path to financial freedom. So welcome to our 299th weekly webcast. Next week is a big week, man. Next week we've got our 300th webcast, and I will have a special guest on next week's webcast that may or may not look a little bit like me, with worse dad humor than me. Yeah. One quick housekeeping announcement before I get to your questions. Please keep typing your questions. So my next course for my MBA students is going to be released in a couple weeks. Now recall that last month I released the free real estate elective for my MBA degree program students. The next course, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing forensic accounting, so that if you want to learn how to invest in stocks based on looking at the financial statements, meaning going long or short, meaning betting for them or against them, you can do so by doing a deep dive. So let me quickly show you a little bit more about this course. Still work in progress. So what we're going to do is we're going to analyze the financials of companies and do real life case studies, right? So right here, for example, I've got a case study on NVIDIA, Supermicro, and then you can do an audit report in your own company, Berkshire Hathaway, etc. We're going to be analyzing the financial statements as well of all of these companies. Okay, it's still a work in progress at this point. And then what's going to happen is you'll get a massive report that'll automatically be created for you. That's like 27 pages. And we're going to be analyzing the footnotes as well. Now, what a lot of people don't understand is when it comes to financial statements, quite often we look at the income statement, balance sheet, cash flow statement. but we ignore what are called the footnotes. And this can tell you a lot about a company. And sophisticated investors, meaning a lot of the greatest hedge funds and mutual funds, what they do is they read these footnotes in the annual report. And they will help you understand the company much, much better in terms of off-balance sheet items, etc. Look for that course to hit your MBA degree program before the end of this month. And for those of you that have already signed up for Silver, Gold, Platinum MBA program, or even my Diamond program, go to the last lecture of your curriculum to download all of the electives for free. Thank you. It's a one-time payment. You get all of my electives for free. It's a good deal. Okay. I'm a little biased, though. All right. Let me go to the questions here. Rohit, how are you? Rohit wrote, hi, Chris. Hope you're well. Likewise. Chris, you were to do the Wolf of Wall Street movie review. So when can I expect that video? I'm excited. Yeah, I've actually already done it. So what I've done for many of you might not know, I've humbly taught a ton of different subjects. My MBA programs on my website are more than 500 hours now. So what I've started doing is I've started teaching based on movies. And it's a lot of fun. So what you can do is go to my YouTube channel, okay? And you could see all the reviews I do on television shows, okay? It's the Wall Street Pro Series, probably. And then what I do is I've done, I think, the first 3 seasons of Billions. I've also done the movie Wall Street and also the Wolf of Wall Street. So you do a search here on my channel. Hope I'm not covering that in the corner there. And just type Wolf. And then right here, you'll see how accurate is how accurate is the Wolf of Wall Street movie. I did this one a couple of years ago, and I go through the entire movie, and I explain in a lot of detail what is correct and what is not correct about the movie, and then I grade it at the end as well. And so it's a series I have that I'm really proud of. It's a lot of fun for me to create, and you can check that out right now if you want to. Now, the next video I'm going to be making on my YouTube channel is Wall Street Part 2. I already did Wall Street Part 1 on my YouTube channel. Wall Street Part 2, I'll be doing this one soon. And a lot of people don't realize that Donald Trump is in one of the deleted scenes. And I will talk about that as well. Look for that to drop on my YouTube channel by the end of this year. And then next year, I'm going to be doing one per week. Let me get to the next question here. Thank you. All right. Next question is, Rohit wrote, which MBA courses and schools are good for me in the USA? I did an undergrad in engineering. And then after that, I just worked in finance, meaning the investment industry, you wrote in brackets, and a bit in back-end roles in finance as well. Yeah, so for anybody that wants to do a graduate degree, before you spend your money doing that, I would first of all ask yourself, why do you want it? And the reason is likely you want to make more money or work in a different industry or get a better job. So what I want you to do is I want you to go on LinkedIn and do an advanced search and find people that have your dream job. And if they all got that graduate degree, meaning a lot of them did, then consider getting that graduate degree. Otherwise, don't waste your money. Now, what I learned when I graduated from an Ivy League MBA program at Columbia University, where I majored in finance back in 2000, I learned that they don't teach you the most important skills in business to be successful. And that's why I wrote this book. 101 Crucial Lessons They Don't Teach You in Business School. In business school, they don't teach you how to sell. That's important. They don't teach you how to network. What's more important than that in business? They don't teach you how to write a business plan. Ask anybody that graduated from a traditional MBA school, do you know how to write a business plan? They don't. They also don't teach you how to manage your own money. They teach you how to manage other people's money. And so through that frustration, I created my non-accredited MBA degree program. I will never do accreditation because I don't want any government telling me what I can and cannot do. Yeah. All right. And to learn more about that, you can see the link down here for my Silver, Gold, Platinum, and Diamond MBA programs. All right. Okay. Next up, Rohit wrote, also, can you suggest your top 5 books? Sure. To know more about the hedge fund industry and strategies to make money. Absolutely. The first one I would check out is written by Peter Lynch, who managed the Fidelity Magellan Fund back in the 80s and 90s. Okay. It's called One Up on Wall Street. And what Peter talks about, and my old boss, Carson Levitt, who I used to work for at Citadel, Pequot, etc., he used to work for this guy. But what Lynch talks about is invest in companies you thoroughly understand. What does that mean? Well, don't invest in companies if you don't use the product because you don't thoroughly understand it. And he has an example in this book, actually, where he talks about his wife going to a drugstore and buying these pantyhose in this little egg-shaped compartment. Remember those things? I'm dating myself there. And he invested in the company because his wife tried the product and did exceptionally well because of that. And I know about this because when I was younger, my mom used that product. And I used to get those egg containers, the plastic ones. I used to put my Smurfs in them. Schtroumpfs, for those in Germany or France watching. Yeah. So always try the product first. All right. The next book, you asked for 5, right? All right. The next one is a book by this guy, Chris Haroun? Yeah. So this book here is published by McGraw-Hill. And I recently published it. It was painful because they did 1 million edits. I don't know if I'd do it again in hindsight, but I humbly think it's a good book. And in this book, I teach you everything about finance and accounting and valuation and how to invest in stocks, options, etc. from scratch. There's tons of exhibits as well. You can do a search online. Barnes & Noble has it, etc. Finance Essentials for Managers. The next book, and you asked for 5, right? The next book is called The Black Swan. And there's this really smart Lebanese dude. I'm part Lebanese, proudly Lebanese, Nassim Taleb. And he's written a lot of books on finance. They're a little bit esoteric. One of them is called Black Swan. And what this means, and I'll summarize it in one sentence for you, is you can't be a day trader because random events make stock go up and down you can't forecast. Like 9/11, for example, or COVID, etc. He also wrote another book you can check out called Fooled by Randomness, which is similar to this book to the extent that day traders are fooled by random events. Like you can't forecast what's going to happen tomorrow or what Trump is going to say tomorrow or what Trudeau is going to say tomorrow. I have to go there. My family told me not to get political on these things, but I'm going there anyway. That was my mom pushing something over. I'm just kidding. She's not here. But if I lived in Canada, I'd wear a red hat, okay, that says, make Trudeau a drama teacher again. He is the worst thing ever for the Canadian economy. And I hope that he resigns. Okay. All right. Another book is called Give and Take. All right. So Give and Take is a great book written about why billionaires are successful. And let me summarize this in 1 second. And yes, this will help you in the hedge fund industry and every industry in general. The top 1% of people in the world by net worth, okay, the top 1% are givers. The middle 98% are takers, and the bottom 1% are givers, people with beautiful souls like Mother Teresa. Now, the reason why the top 1% are successful and they're givers, etc., the reason why they're successful is because they help people. And I know that we think a lot of billionaires are avaricious and selfish and all that stuff, right? There are good ones as well, right? They give and they want to help people. And the bottom line message from this is that if you mentor other people and you help other people in life, I promise you it will come back to help you in the long run. Let me give an example. Let's say you work at a company and you're up for promotion. And you're curious, well, what do I need to accomplish to get promoted? And you start mentoring other people that are more junior than you. You're giving to them, you're helping them. When one teaches, two learn. You're reinforcing your core DNA blueprint, so to speak, on what success is. Help other people, give and you'll receive. It's prophetic. It's been true since the beginning of time. Okay, so that's that book. All right, another book I have here, I think we're close to 5 now, is a book I wrote on networking. Okay, the most important skill you'll ever learn in business is networking. And a lot of people, when they're in school, they keep their head down, they get good grades, and they think, hey man, life is great. My parents are proud of me. I'm proud of myself. My teachers are nice to me. I'm going to be successful. Then they join the workforce. I'm sure this has happened to many of you out there. It's happened to me. You join the workforce and you keep your head down and you work hard. And then you look around after a year or two and you're like, hey man, I don't get it. Other people are getting promoted faster than I am. And they're getting raises. They're no better than me. I speak gooder than them, etc. And the reason why they're getting promoted and you're not, or we are not, humbly, is because they asked. Okay, and they networked like crazy. I teach you how to network like crazy to get a job, to get customers, to raise money, etc. Now, if you want to get this book for free, what you can do is go to the following website. Go to harounmba.com, and then what you can do is scroll down, and my students have gotten jobs at these companies and many more. Scroll down, and then at the bottom here, you can download this book for free. Networking to get a job, customers, or anything you want. All right. Let me go back here. Please keep typing your questions. Thank you. All right. Next question is from Melody. How are you? Melody was in my MBA program, graduated several years ago, I think it was over 5 years ago or something. Great to see you. And we're starting our 10th one-year MBA degree program on this date here. You can go to that web address to learn more as well. It is so good to see you. So good to see you. You wrote, I wanted to pop in and say, God bless you. Thank you for saying that. God bless you more. You wrote, God bless you and your family. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving and a wonderful Christmas. Thank you for saying that. And how dare we not say Merry Christmas? I love you. I miss you. And I hope you join the 3-hour weekly office hours call. You can learn more by going to this link here. Excellent. Excellent. I do it every Thursday. Great to see you. That's a Zoom call every Thursday. Yeah. And then Melody wrote, I also want to let the audience know that all the information Chris has taught is so valuable. Thank you. I still use it to this day in business, and it's helped me tremendously. God bless you. Thank you. And then you wrote, thank you. I normally watch the replays in the evenings as I work during the day, but again, just wanted to thank you and let you know how much of a blessing your classes have been. Thank you. And I read every single comment. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. God bless you. We also have a podcast of this. We're on Spotify. We're on every major platform. Most people watch the replay of this. Thank you. So good to see you. Next up, we have Tao. Oh my God. You wrote, hey, Chris, it's Tao Hong from Chicago. It's been so long. Just want to say hi. God bless you. Great to see you. Last time I met you was back in 2021 during my annual graduation for my gold, platinum, and diamond students. Hope you're doing well. And if I remember you had a beautiful son. You sent me wonderful pictures. You gave me a nice Christmas card as well one year. And then your husband, Brett, loves to fish. And you have a TikTok channel as well. You guys blew up. Teaching people how to fish. And I humbly don't give my students a fish. I teach you how to fish you can eat for a lifetime. It is so great to see you. And by the way, I don't want to sound like Biden here. In addition, and by the way, coming up on September 27th, that's a Saturday next year, there's going to be a 3-day annual networking event here in the Bay Area for my gold, platinum, and diamond students. I hope to see you again. For those of you that want to join my program, you can go to this link right here. So good to see you. All right, moving on to Shahar. How are you? Great to see you from Tel Aviv. Hope you're doing well. And then we have Peter, who wrote, and the great thing about the MBA program is I have students from all over the world, and your network is your net worth, and everybody wants to help each other. And the jerk factor is 0 in my program. All right. Next up, Peter wrote, hey, Chris, you suggest writing a book in the MBA program. I do. And for all of you on this call, not my MBA program, I'm going to give you the link and a template to fill out right now on how to write your first book. Okay. And the great thing about writing a book, which is what I did when I worked in the venture capital industry. The great thing about writing a book, which I did in the venture capital industry, is it costs you nothing to do. Okay. And I'm going to teach you how to do this in a second. But first, what I did was I wrote one article every week on my LinkedIn profile for 2 years. Then I took all 100 articles and I put them together in this book. I'll give you the template in a second. And I sorted the articles by the ones that got the most likes, controversial comments in a good way, etc. Then what I did and what you can do, and I'll teach you how in a second, is you go to your informational meetings, okay, or interviews or meeting with customers, and you give them your book. And it's free to do. It's a self-publish. And who does that? And if you think that's too much work, and I say this with love in my heart, how badly do you want that job, that customer, etc.? Yeah, it works. It works. Now, Obama's publisher actually reached out to me after I published this book. And this book, humbly, that's what a Canadian says before they're about to humbly brag. Forbes magazine, you can search for it, wrote an article on this book, saying it's one of 6 books all entrepreneurs need to read right now, along with Peter Thiel's book, Simon Sinek's book, and Stephen Covey, etc. And Business Insider called this book the #1 book of the year in 2015, according to Business Insider readers. Yeah, subscribers, etc. Yeah, so check it out. Now, how do you publish a book like this for free? So let's go there together. Come to my website. I want you to go to harounmba.com. Okay, harounmba.com / all lowercase, write-book. You see that? Write-book. All right, let's go there together. All right, so here are the steps right here. Okay, it's 4 steps. And, you know, it's really simple to do. All you have to know how to do is use Microsoft Word in a browser. For those of you listening on Spotify or other podcasts, again, you go to harounmba.com / a lowercase write-book. So let me open up this template and teach you how to do it. It's really easy, okay? All right, here it is. So 1 page of instructions right here, read it. Then you can publish for free on Amazon Kindle, okay? That's KDP. Amazon Print, as well as ACX, which is Audible. And if you're going to get somebody to design the cover of the book, I want you to click on this link here, okay? Because this is my favorite person on the planet that makes book covers for me, and she is from Bangladesh. And tip her well, please. So all you do is you fill out this template, okay? And I'm in dark mode here, as you can tell. And then you can copyright it by going here if you want, okay? Dedication to my mom and the dad who gave me the faith and confidence to know in my heart you can accomplish anything in life. And then introduction right here. Then you're going to write all your chapters and then right click and then just repaginate. It's really, really simple. All right. But remember, step one is you've got to write articles on LinkedIn. And for those of you that want to join my Platinum or Diamond MBA degree program, you can go to this link below. I help you write all your articles as well. Yeah. And you got to think like the Rodin sculpture, right? To be a thought leader. You know, I think, therefore I am. Here, I think, yeah. And fake it till you make it or whatever. Just write lots of articles. And if you write lots of articles every single week on LinkedIn, and you can repurpose them in terms of videos, et cetera, on different platforms like TikTok, Instagram, et cetera. But if you do that, then what will happen is eventually the media will reach out to you and you'll be quoted, okay? And you'll be interviewed. And that's great PR for you. And that's exactly what I've done. I've been quoted in Forbes, New York Times, lots of major publications because of that. And for those of you that want to learn more about how to get one-on-one meetings with anybody, including people that work in the media, you can check it out in this book or join my MBA degree program. Yeah. And you got to be aggressive and controversial, but tasteful if you reach out to the media, right? So for example, Elon Musk, right? And he's great. You know, not everything he says is perfect, but he's very controversial. And because of that, he gets free media attention, right? So have you ever seen a Tesla commercial? Neither have I. So you can be controversial. So for example, for me, what I could do is I could reach out to the media, which I've done so. And I've said, you know, 2/3 of HBS is BS, Harvard Business School. Or is that Haroun Business School, HBS? I don't know. Just kidding. But you know what I'm getting at. Just be controversial. And I can give you plenty of examples of how that works. All right, let me move on now. All right. Okay. All right, in terms of the book, how many pages should you have? Yeah, so you're going to need at least 140 pages so you can have a spine, unlike this teacher here. So you can have a spine and, you know, put writing on the side of it here. Yeah. And make sure on the back to leave a little slot here for the ISBN code. All right. If you guys have follow-ups about the books, etc., let me know, please. Okay. Next up, Omkar wrote, "Hi, Chris. It's Omkar here. Pleasure to meet you. I hope you join us again on this webcast. You wrote here, first time I've seen you. You wrote, I want to buy a bike. What is your opinion needed to buy a new bike or a used bike?" Yeah. For those in California, here on the West Coast, it looks like there's going to be a new tax incentive to be able to buy e-bikes. Do a search on Google, you'll see about that. And you wrote, should I buy a new bike or a used bike? I would always buy used. It's kind of like buying a car. Never buy a brand new car, because the second you drive it off the lot, it goes down 30%. If you buy a used bike, which I've done a lot in my life, I bought e-bikes as well, tons of them. Make sure to get it certified. Take it to a bike store to check on it first. You don't want to buy a lemon and hurt yourself. All right. Next up, Loic wrote a question about CDS swap. Sure. When you buy a credit default swap, you only pay the premium and possible fees, right? Not the amount for which you're buying the swaps. Thanks for the great dad humor. Yeah. Whenever you're buying a complicated product like a CDS, and please be careful with this, or any option strategy or any derivative strategy in general, there's lots of hidden fees. Okay, so what I would do is make sure you talk to the broker, the prime broker, whatever it is, the retail broker, and you ask, what are the fees? Okay, and it'll be recorded. And this goes for anybody who wants to buy an insurance product. You always get on the phone and ask, what are the hidden fees? What are the fees in general? They'll explain it to you. Then I want you to do this. I want you to explain it back to them, because every call is recorded for quality assurance purposes. Okay, explain it back to them. And if they say that's not right, keep doing it again. Rinse, lather, repeat, especially with complex instruments like mortgages. Now, when it comes to credit default swaps, that's one of the things that pushed us into a massive economic recession back in 1998, when we were within 24 hours of bank machines not working. And I'm doing a series on that coming out soon, where I'm going to be doing a big video on the Big Short. Okay, so I'll discuss CDS in a lot more detail. Okay, also Too Big to Fail, which is my favorite business movie ever made. It's great. And then the last one here, Margin Call, with the disgraced Kevin Spacey. And I say disgrace because he did something in House of Cards in one scene that made me lose all respect for him. Okay. All right. Next up, question is, I purchased your course from Udemy on personal finance. Thank you. And my dad humor in that was terrible. In one part of that course, I was giving you advice on how to save money when you get married. And I gave you two pieces of advice. I said, number one, don't get divorced. And then number two, get married on a Friday because it's cheaper. And then I said, I'm just kidding. Don't get married on Friday. That was bad dad humor. And MBA does not stand for married but available. Okay. All right. JK wrote, greetings. Great to see you. Thanks for joining again. And then Ren wrote, thanks for putting me into Billions. It's a great show. I love it. I'm going to be doing all 7 seasons. The co-writer of Billions reached out to me, had really nice comments to say on my series. I do a YouTube short every day on it as well. Also, a lot of people that worked on the show have reached out to me as well, which is very flattering. Yeah. And according to people familiar with the matter, there's going to be a couple of Billions spin-offs. One of them might be called Trillions, based in Miami. And another one might be called Millions, based in London. Look out for that. Yeah. I read it on the internet on Reddit, so it has to be true. Okay, JK wrote, ask ALEXA for Wall Street News this morning. And she reported Amazon, opened first, almost completed automated warehouse. I'm sure you're up to speed. Yeah, I listened to it this morning. I did not hear that. So when I was in the shower this morning, I always do this. Alexa, Wall Street Journal news.
From the Wall Street.
All right. Anyway, she goes on and talks forever, except when I want her to. But
Journal. Sun Q Business is the
Alexa, stop. I listened to it. I didn't hear that, but maybe let me know if it was a different podcast. What I also do every day in the shower, in addition to that, is I say this. Alexa, finance news today.
From Bloomberg.
News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Nathan Hager. It is a celebratory morning for Donald Trump. The president-elect is back in New York this morning, where he was
Alexa,
named Time.
Stop. Yeah, I heard that this morning. He was named Time Magazine Person of the Year or something, although I thought it was Melania. Could be wrong. All right. Next up, Ren wrote, I've got a question. I've reached senior level in my career. I work in technology and marketing operations. I maximize my income by working multiple remote jobs, 2 to 5 of them at a time. Lots of side hustles, nice. I'm looking to pivot, starting to buy a small business. I have my eye on a smoke shop or dry cleaners in my area that are selling due to retirement and have good numbers, good cash flow. What advice would you recommend to somebody taking over and running a business, I'm looking to take your MBA degree program. Yeah. So if you're going to buy a smoke shop, make sure you check with all the local regulations, etc. A lot of people ask, they say, Chris, do you smoke? And I say, only when I'm on fire. Sorry. Yeah. So what I recommend doing before you buy any business or invest in any company, any public or private, is write a full business plan. Because failing to plan is plan to fail. And if you want, you can join my MBA degree program. I've got a lot of templates I'll show you over the next 5 seconds. Okay, so one of them here is an investment research dashboard where you're going to type every answer to every question I ask you about and all these 100 stats here. Okay, and then it's going to print out a detailed report for you. Another one you can actually use is my venture capital bootcamp where you're going to write a business plan. Okay, and I would have you write a business plan for that company as well. Now, in terms of the most important things to look at before investing in any company, you always want to start with the management team. Always. Because what is a company? It's the quality of the management team. Always. Then you look at other things like the total addressable market, competition, market growth, etc. Yeah. And if you want, what you can do is you can set up a call with me, and I'm more than happy to walk you through what I do, my consulting services, etc. And the way to do that is just go directly to my website, harounmba.com. In the bottom right-hand corner, I'm covering up this blue box. You click here to schedule a call with me. All right, let's move on now to the next question. All right. I live for this, man. I love to teach. And next week is going to be week 300 for my weekly webcast. I'm going to do this for another gazillion years. I promise you, I ain't going nowhere. Okay. All right. Next up, Manas wrote from Calcutta, speaking of the wonderful Mother Teresa, who I mentioned when I was talking about this book earlier. Manas wrote, good morning, my dear mentor, Chris, please. What a wonderful day. Great to see you. I'm looking forward to seeing you as well, Manas, who's in my Silver MBA degree program, on our weekly 1-hour Zoom call for Silver students that starts in an hour and a half. And it's always great to see you here. Ask me questions here as well, please. Always, yeah. All right. Okay, next up, Indigo Kid, how are you? Wrote, I know that consistency is important for social media, but if I want to try multiple different channels and niches, like hiking streams and AI-generated animation, what other advice do you have? Yeah, you nailed it. The first thing is consistency. A lot of people will give up when it comes to their social media strategy, right? For me, I'm on week 299 of this weekly webcast. I'm consistently bad, but I'm consistent. And make sure that you publish always at the exact same time, always, so that your viewers are looking for it. And for those of you that haven't started your own YouTube channel yet, and I'll answer your question in a second. For those of you who haven't started your own YouTube channel yet or done social media stuff, please start now. And the reason why you have to start right now is because if you don't do it, then in 3 to 5 years, it's not going to be possible to do it. And the reason I say that is because within 3 to 5 years, AGI, meaning artificial general intelligence, will become a reality. What does that mean? Well, what that means is avatars will exist that will teach, just like movies in 5 or 10 years. A lot of the biggest movie stars will be avatars. So you have 3 to 5 years to put your flag in the sand, so to speak. It's a land grab, and market the brand of you. Now, when you first get started putting up social media content, please don't be perfect, okay? Perfection will destroy you. And as Salvador Dali said, if you strive for perfection, you'll never reach it, okay? Just be consistent. If you want, go to any YouTuber you follow, look at their original videos, the first ones, their OGs. They were terrible, just like mine were terrible. It doesn't matter. Just put it out there. And as Reid Hoffman said, who's the brilliant co-founder of LinkedIn, if you release your product when it's ready, you've already missed the market. Get it out there. Be consistent, please. The next thing I want to talk about is how to work smarter and not harder by repurposing your content. Now, Nintendo is over 100 years old. It's the oldest tech company in history. It wasn't always a tech company. And one of the reasons that Nintendo is so successful is what they do is they repurpose their content. And what that means is this. Their older 8-bit, 16-bit, 64-bit games, they repurpose on new platforms, right? That way they work smarter, not harder. It's a high margin business. By the same token, with everybody in this call, I want you to repurpose your content as well. And what that means is this. So this weekly call what I do is I have a team that will take all the best questions asked and repurpose all those questions over the next week or so on many different social media platforms. There's nothing left on this weekly webcast carcass by the time we're done with it. And for those that can't watch live, 1 hour after I finish this weekly webcast, you can always go to the description of this video. And John Clee, one of my amazing contractors I work with, writes all the questions, clickable questions, you get the answers immediately. Yeah, just put something out there. And you got to read all the comments too. And you got to be like Teflon. Like, you're going to get criticized, but I want you to think like that Jimmy Kimmel show, right? I don't agree with his politics. But when he has mean tweets, okay, they're funny. And so when you read comments about yourself, if they're mean, I want you to laugh. I know it's a different way to live. But remember, unjustified criticism is nothing more than a disguised compliment. Let me say that again. Unjustified criticism is nothing more than a disguised compliment. So when somebody criticizes you at work or on social media, I want you to thank them just in your mind because of that insecurity of them. They don't even list their real name. Criticizing you. That's a compliment. Yeah, it's really important to think that way. Yeah. Okay. And when it comes to the comments as well, what I want you to do is read the comments because they're going to guide you towards the content that the viewers want to learn about. So for example, for me, when I first started doing this weekly webcast, I thought all people wanted to learn about was finance from me. And then people started writing comments about, I like your personal development stuff as well. The market will always guide you. Okay. All right. All right, next up, we have Luigi. How are you? Good to see you. And my little sister, Katie, I miss you so much. And Katie, I've got to say, she passed away this summer. She was sick with lupus. When I used to play with her, Nintendo, when I was a kid, she was always Luigi and I was always Mario. And sometimes I didn't even attach the cable. Sorry for that. Yeah. All right, Luigi Ventura, what a great name, wrote, hi, Chris, good day. I'm moving to Canada from El Salvador to pursue an undergraduate degree. Any advice you could give me? Many thanks. Yeah. So again, your network is your net worth. What I would do is I would aggressively network with people that are graduates of the school. People want to meet with you. I would do an advanced search in LinkedIn and find people that are going to that university in Canada or went there or alumni that are also from El Salvador, et cetera, and set up a lot of informational meetings with them, please. Yeah, your network is your net worth. Relationships are more important than product knowledge. Okay. Sorry, I lost my spot. Give me a second. All right, next up, Danny Drives. It's been a while. How are you? You wrote, we talked billions on previous weeks. I just wanted to update you and give you the bad news that on, November 29th, the Wall Street Journal confirmed that the head of Showtime has killed all the billion spinoffs. Oh, that's too bad. That sucks. Okay, thanks for that. Yeah. All right, give me 1 second here. It sucks. Okay, give me a second, guys. Sorry. Okay. JK wrote 1985 to 1995, 58% of investors in Fidelity Milligent lost money. Bad timing. Really? Huh. Let me know where you saw that from. I'm really curious because I thought Peter Lynch did an exceptional job with that. Yeah. And a good friend of mine, I think Harlan Carrera, who I used to work with at Goldman, he's Canadian as well, runs that fund now. I think he still does. Yeah. Okay. And I had lunch with him not too long ago in London, or a couple of years ago. Saurav wrote, what about the Adani case? Yeah, I'm not up to speed on that. I'm so sorry. All right. Chibike wrote, Merry Christmas and donated $5. Thank you so much. That will go towards these schools that we're building in Africa. We finished Rwanda last year, working on Kenya now, Nigeria next year. God bless you and thank you for saying that. And a very Merry Christmas to you and your family as well. How dare we not say Merry Christmas? Okay. Next up, Manas wrote, so my mentor, the TikTok ban is coming close. Will it go away forever, or will it be reversed? Yeah, so Trump has said that he will not ban TikTok. But what I think is going to happen is this. He's kind of backed away from that through some subtle hints in his comments. What's going to happen is the U.S. assets will be sold. Okay, so what that means is this. There's a consortium trying to buy the U.S. assets. They're bidding $20 billion, which sounds like nothing right now, I know. But the reason why they're bidding so low is because the Chinese government said that they will never give up the algorithm for national security reasons of TikTok. So what will happen is somebody's going to buy the U.S. assets of TikTok that will not include the algorithm. And I hope somebody like Elon Musk gets involved as well, because I believe in free speech. Yeah. But I understand why the government wants to ban it. I think I get it. And I can go into more detail if you want me to or not. Yeah. All right. My gut is this happens with TikTok, though. In January, when it's supposed to be banned, I think what's going to happen is the appeals court, it'll go right to the Supreme Court. It'll get delayed over and over and over again. It takes a while. Okay, next up, Melody wrote, that book helped me, my oldest son, get an internship at BMW. Oh, I love it. That's my networking book, eh? That's right. And I remember meeting your son. And for those of you that want to go back to see my conversation with Melody, go to my weekly webcast, October 31st, 2020, I think it was, where I had a 12-hour weekly webcast. I didn't get up once. And I met you and your son and your daughter right at the end as well, right before they went up for Halloween. Yeah. Manas wrote, my mentor, what if Trudeau wins again after the Trump election? People are quite frankly terrified of right-wing government, and Trudeau might benefit from his momentum. What do you think about this story? Yeah. There is no way Trudeau is going to win again. Absolutely no way. He has destroyed the Canadian economy. He's an embarrassment. That's right. I'm getting political here. There is absolutely no way he will win again. Yeah. Yeah. And what Trump is saying is kind of funny what he's doing. Trump kind of said, and this is controversial, but he called Trudeau, in Truth Social, which I think is his social media platform, he said, I had a great meeting with Governor Trudeau, the governor of the great state of Canada, the 51st state. So he's kind of poking at him, many truth and jest. I think Pierre Poilievre is going to win the next election. He's progressive conservative, PC in Canada. Yeah. All right. Next up, E-Dash wrote, hey, Chris, I'm working on becoming a registered representative and then going for the CFA. Any tips or suggestion? Thanks. Also, Elon Musk's net worth is $400 billion. Crazy. Well-deserved. Yeah. And I think he's preserves free speech, and God bless him for buying X, which was leaning a little bit too far to the left. So I believe in free speech, and I'm going to be critical of YouTube, this platform right here. And no YouTuber is critical of the platform, but I'm going to be right now because you are my customers. I don't have any sponsors. I had one recently, the first one ever, Seeking Alpha. I just nullified it. And I want to be true and pure to all of you. What happened in 2021 on this YouTube channel really upset me. And what happened was, in one of my unlisted YouTube webinars, there was a very intelligent doctor from Middle America. He got on the call. And he was just talking about why he doesn't agree with the vaccination, with COVID. And yes, I got vaccinated, but he just expressed his opinion. And I got a message from YouTube, okay, that said this. It said, what happened on that webcast, and hardly anybody was on it, it was a tiny little webcast, was medical misinformation, and we're giving you a warning. Do it again and you'll get a strike. And I was so upset at the time because I realized that freedom of speech is a government thing and not a platform thing. And it really bothered me. And in order to get that warning off my channel, what YouTube did was they told me that I had to take a little test online. And I had to answer a bunch of questions, etc. And then they removed that warning from my channel. So the way it works is this. You get a strike, they penalize you, a couple strikes, you're out, no more YouTube channel ever again. And that killed me. Whatever happened to freedom of speech? And that's why I'm glad, and look, it's good to have people on the left and on the right arguing. That's what a democracy is. But the reason I love that Elon Musk purchased X or Twitter is because I don't want all platforms to lean one way. I want freedom of speech. And that's why I think that Elon Musk is a hero and his $400 billion plus net worth is well-deserved. Yes. Okay. Yeah, in terms of doing the CFA, I think it's wonderful. I think it's better than an MBA. The CFA, for those of you who don't know, is a certified financial analyst designation. And you don't go to classes, you study, and you write 3 exams over 3 years. And the biggest concentration of CFAs on the planet is in Toronto. Yeah. And if you want to study for it and pass it, I did level 1 years ago when I worked at Goldman. Let me know. I can give you a couple tips on how to ace it and spend 1/10 of the price as well on how to study. Yeah. All right, let me move on here. All right. All right. Omkar wrote, I want to purchase. Oh yeah, I answered that question already. Yeah, you don't have to write it twice. Thank you. Moving on to Jay Bish. First time I've seen you on the call. Hope you join us again. Who wrote, I'm in my junior year of finance and have the opportunity to add another major, which would be accounting. Do you recommend this or allocating time to certifications? Yeah. While you're in college, I would definitely study accounting and finance because a lot of business is common sense, but accounting and finance is not. It's actually the rules of business. And I don't want you to memorize how this stuff works. This is a balance sheet here. Because if you memorize accounting, you'll get a D in accounting like I did at McGill University back in 1990. And I did meet Justin Trudeau, who also went to my university in 94. I can tell you the whole story if you want to. Okay. But don't memorize accounting. I took it again. I got a little bit better than a D. And now I teach it. WTF? Why the face? I want you to understand it. And I want you to think about rearranging equations as well. Right? And I can go through balance sheet explains from scratch if you want me to. Yeah. It's the language of business. It's not common sense. You got to learn it. Yeah. It's like a second language. All right. Wow. Jerry, thank you. I've never seen that before. Wow. Thank you for that. Wow. Jerry Tommy, I've never met you before. God bless you. You just gifted 10 memberships to a lot of people on my channel. Look at that. I've never seen that before. Thank you so much for that, for supporting us. Thank you. God bless you. God bless you. Wow. And Jerry, set up a call with me, please. I'd love to talk to you. I've never had anybody do that before. Set up a call with me. I'd love to chat with you. Go to HarounMBA.com and then down there's a blue button. Click it. I want to have a conversation with you. Thank you, and God bless you. And welcome all these 2 members to my channel. Thank you. Wow. Okay. Okay, next up, Ralph said, hey, Chris, are you offering a discount for your gold MBA class for 2025? Set up a call with me, and I will give you a discount as well. Just go to HarounMBA.com and then click on the blue button at the bottom and set up a one-on-one with me. Yeah, and I'll remember your name. Thank you. All right. All right, moving on to Manas from Calcutta. Wrote, is Trump a bullish move for crypto? And also the federal chief will be remaining in office for longer despite new administration. What are your thoughts? He's buying exchange too, by the way. Yeah. So Trump is incredibly bullish for cryptocurrencies, particularly Bitcoin. His new head of the SEC was the co-head of a lobbyist union in DC that is very, 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 very pro cryptocurrencies. And that's why Bitcoin reached over $100,000. I think Bitcoin eventually, do your research please, I think eventually Bitcoin will reach $1 million. I do. And, Trump has repeatedly said, and if you were to download his, I think he has this True Social app, apparently what he said on that, all in caps, was crypto is over $100,000 now per coin price. You're welcome. He wrote that, right? So he is very bullish on cryptos. He's blessing it, basically, saying that we agree with this. Yeah. Okay. All right, next up, Melody wrote, hey, and in my MBA program, I teach you a lot about cryptocurrencies as well, in terms of how to value them, etc. I set up an IRA many years ago with Bitcoin in it. I can talk to you more about that one-on-one if you want to, as well. I'm a bull. All right, and I joined my first cryptocurrency board back in 2013 when I worked in VC. Yeah, but I still believe that most cryptos are a scam. Okay. All right, next up. Melody wrote, Chris, I'm starting a small business. I was considering using Vanguard for investments. Any suggestions? I'm a beginner at this. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So for those of you that don't invest in the markets, what I recommend doing is just buy VOO. Okay, VOO. That's an ETF. Okay, and the VOO ETF represents the 500 stocks that make up the U.S. economy, meaning the S&P 500. And the fees are low. Mutual funds are ripoff. VOO is an ETF. The fees are low. You pay 3 pennies per $100 you invest per year, which is nothing. And in my humble opinion, over the next 20 years, the S&P 500 is going to be up between 15 and 20% per year on average. Yes, there will be big down years as well, but as Warren Buffett said, the longer the view, the wiser the intention. Why do I say that? Because I think that the U.S. government is the very last business on the planet, so to speak, that will ever go bankrupt. Yeah. And I also think that AI, which is dominated by American companies. There's too much regulation internationally. I do think that AI is going to significantly help S&P 500 stocks cut expenses materially. And they're already doing it. And when you cut expenses, it goes right to the bottom line. Let me show you real quick. Yeah. So this here is an income statement, okay? What a lot of companies are going to do is they're going to cut this line item, G&A, materially. Okay. How are they going to do that? That's general administrative expenses. Well, what goes in this bucket here for expenses, red or expenses, what goes in this bucket here is customer service, for example. And a lot of companies are letting customer service people go and replacing it with AI. And I've done that in my websites as well. So right now what's happening is this here is being cut materially. Next up comes sales and marketing, mainly marketing. Salespeople will be the last to go. A little bit of R&D. Okay, a little bit, especially with the new Google supercomputing announcement. And then eventually what's going to happen is companies are going to focus on growing revenue at the top line, materially using AI. I'm already doing that right now in my business. Okay. And everybody, y'all got to start using AI to try to disrupt yourself. Otherwise, the marketplace will do so. Yeah. And I can talk more about this if you want me to. Now, Melody, one more thing I'll say, and this goes to everybody in this call. When it comes to investments and starting a company, please make sure that you have an accountant. Hire an accountant, okay? Why? Because not hiring an accountant is like doing surgery on yourself. That's extreme, I know. Because the tax code changes all the time. And your accountant will keep you, hopefully, within the confines of not breaking the law. And almost equally as important, they will get you tons and tons and tons of tax breaks. And if you start a company, you also have to get an accountant, obviously. Everybody needs an accountant. How do you find an accountant? Well, there's no Yelp for accounts online. You ask any friend of yours or family member or aunt or uncle that are successful who their accountant is and ask for an introduction. It's a great investment. You will get a big return on investment, I promise you. Last thing I'll say on that topic, Melody, is if you're thinking about investing in the VOO or ETFs or anything like the Vanguard products you mentioned, talk to your accountant first so that it can be tax protected, either through a Roth IRA or a 401k, etc. Yeah. All right. All right, next up, Zimmer. You're new to the call. Welcome. You remind me of Don Zimmer. God bless him. He passed away. He used to be a coach of the Yankees. Not a good friend of Pedro Martinez, though. Zimmer wrote, hey, Chris, I love your YouTube shorts. Thank you. Thank you. And I want to give credit to Gianmarco Lubiana. one of my contractors in Canada for doing that. If anybody wants to hire Jean-Marco Lubiana, just send me an email to support@harounventures.com. Zimmer wrote, I'd like to ask the risk of buying a call or a put, them writing a call or a put. Can you go to debt due to buying calls or put using margin, etc.? Yeah, let me explain options from scratch very, very quickly. Okay, so the way it works is, and you could lose a fortune with options. I want you to be careful. So an options contract, it's like an insurance policy, okay? And I'll explain using Coca-Cola, ticker KO, in a second. So with a life insurance policy, and I'm worth more dead than alive, with a life insurance policy, you pay this much money. And for those of you listening on Spotify, it's a tiny amount. You pay a small amount of money, okay? And every month. And if, God forbid, you pass away and that event occurs, your family gets a lot of money, okay? Otherwise, all you lose is this much amount per month. It's the same thing with calls and puts. Let me first explain puts really quickly. Now, calls and puts are derivative instruments. And the derivative market is 6 times bigger than the global stock market. It's huge. Now, within derivatives, calls and options, meaning calls and put options, the way it works is this. I'll start with put. So a put is like a life insurance policy, okay? So let's say I own Coca-Cola stock, okay, ticker KO. And I'm worried that Coke might go down a lot. And I don't want to sell it because I've owned it for a gazillion years and I don't want to pay taxes. So what I can do is this. I can buy a little life insurance contract, a put. It's called a put, okay? I buy it, I pay this much money. If Coke goes down, I make a lot, okay? It can be multiple times what you invested. If Coke goes up, I lose this. But that's okay, it's a small amount, so most I can lose is this. And I'm happy because Coke has gone up a lot. Okay, so that explains a put. Let's now talk about calls. A call means the opposite of a put. So I invest this much money in buying a call. And if Coke goes up, this can go up many, many times, right? And you can make a killing with it, right? Now, the most you can lose if Coke goes, if Coke doesn't go up, if it goes down, so to speak, is this amount right here, okay? Now, that's buying a put and buying a call. Now, I don't want anybody in this call to ever underwrite them like investment bankers do, meaning sell puts and calls to the market, unless you're very experienced. I teach that in my MBA degree program in the 4th semester. The reason I say that is because if you underwrite a put or a call, meaning you sell it, you can lose much, much more than what you invested because you can get randomly assigned by the CBOE, for example, or the Options Clearinghouse. I can go into more detail if you want me to. All right, let me move on to the next question. Okay, Armin wrote, hey, Chris, what's your opinion on leasing versus owning things in general, like car, equipment, property, etc.? Oh, my God. Michael Ozumo, who graduated from my MBA program years ago, just gifted 20 memberships. Wow. I've never seen this happen like this. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. What is your opinion on leasing versus owning things in general? Yeah. Are there times when it's beneficial to lease instead of buying? Let me explain leases very quickly to everybody in this call. Okay. So I can buy a car or I can lease it. And a lease is like renting it. Okay. And at the end of renting or leasing that car, I have the opportunity to buy it if I want to. Okay. It's called lease to own. Why does leasing even exist? I don't get it. Well, for tax reasons, if you run your own company, it can be very beneficial, right? Ask your accountant first. Now, I'll give you an extreme example. Federal Express, FedEx, okay? And a good friend of mine, John Fenebresk, used to do this. I went to business school with him. So what he used to do was his clients, when he was at Credit Suisse, were, FedEx and big airplane companies. And he used to help them lease airplanes instead of buying them. Why would they lease them instead of buying them? Well, if you buy an airplane, your cash balance is going to go down huge, and your debt level will go up huge as well if you're actually got a loan for it, which will hurt your balance sheet tremendously, right? All your financial ratios, I can explain that in more detail. But if you lease it, it's not going to impact your balance sheet as much in terms of your debt to equity ratios, etc. And that's why it might make more sense for you to do so. Plus, you have the option of buying at the end of the lease. There's operating leases, many other types of leases. And I'm going to explain this in a lot more detail in a course that's going to be released soon. It'll be free for all my MBA degree program students. Okay. In this, I'm going to be explaining it through my complete financial statement analysis course, especially when you analyze what are called footnotes here. Okay. And then formulas, and these all have to be updated. With leases, your balance sheet formulas improve materially. This is a beta product right here. Okay, let me get back to the next question. All right. Okay, Manas wrote, will Intel go bankrupt because of dumb decisions they took? Yeah, they're once a market leader and now not even a shadow of its legacy. What are your thoughts? Absolutely not. There's no way. It's too strategic to the United States government longer term for Intel to go belly up. It would never happen. Intel is more important than the top 10 banks combined. Yeah, there's no way. And Intel has turned themselves around before. But the problem with Intel, and this is a Pentium chip from 1995, the problem with Intel is the founders aren't running the company anymore. You know, Dr. Andy Grove, God bless him, he passed away a couple of years ago. And whenever a founder is not running a tech company anymore or no longer involved, investors usually run for the exit. Yeah. And only, I think, 1% of tech companies are worth investing in when the founders leave. Yeah. Turnarounds don't work in tech either. But in this case, the U.S. government is gonna help them as well. It's too strategic to the United States economy. And the interesting thing about Intel is the only reason Intel exists is because of NASA. Let me explain that quickly. So in 1960, John F. Kennedy, who was a great president, he created NASA. And the goal was to obviously put the first man on the moon. And what happened was the only way they could do that was to put 100,000 transistors in the fuselage, meaning top part of the rocket. And venture capitalists invested in a company called Fairchild Semiconductor that did that. And Gordon Moore, who was part of the Traders 8, the 8 people that started Fairchild, he left Fairchild to start Intel as well. It's too strategic to the defense industry and the national interest of the United States. This company will never go bankrupt. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I think there should be tax incentives. I don't think semiconductor companies in the United States should ever pay more than 5% corporate tax. Yeah, it's too strategic. Okay. All right. Give me 1 second here. Wow. Okay. Find Intel. Okay, JK wrote, 300th weekly webcast next week. Good deal, Chris. Thank you. And then you wrote, ain't going nowhere. We love you and your Q&A show much better than the Mr. T show. Thank you. That means a lot. Appreciate it. Thank you. 300. Crazy. All right. And again, I'm going to have a special guest star next week, guest speaker. Who I'm going to interview on this call that may or may not look a little bit like me, and there's going to be brutal dad humor. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay, next up, Ethan, first time seeing the call, hope you join us again, wrote, how do you network if you're doing 2 years at CC to save money? Yeah. Yeah, let me know what CC means, and I'll answer that question. Thank you. All right, moving on to PV. Who wrote, you can't say you like Elon because you support free speech. And then you put a smiley face. Yeah. Yeah. I think he does. Yeah. And what killed me was all these platforms. Yes, YouTube, if you guys are watching at corporate, you become too left-wing, right? And we need left and right-wing, all that stuff. I get it. In order to have, good discussions. That's what democracy is. But what killed me about YouTube, and I can get in trouble for saying this, I don't give a damn, because I care about my students more than making money, is it killed me that YouTube tried to censor this channel by giving me a warning for medical misinformation, because I had a doctor on this weekly webcast that expressed his opinion. God forbid you express your opinion. Yeah. All right. And then you wrote Elon bans speech. he disagrees with and promotes certain speech while suppressing other speech. Yeah. Give me an example of that, what you mean. Yeah. And I respect your opinion, everyone's opinion as well. And, you know, having disagreements like this is healthy. Thank you. All right. Next up, ST wrote, Hola, Chris. How are you doing? I'm great. Thanks. Hope you're doing well. Do you think one should start your options course before any other part of your course in the Silver MBA? Or other courses to be done before the options course? Yeah. So sign up for the Silver MBA degree program if you want to. And you can go to the link you see down there to learn more about it. And what I would do is I would watch all the finance and accounting lectures. It's 100 or 200 hours first before you go into the options stuff, right? So you got to learn the basics. And I teach it with lots of props as well from scratch. Yeah. Yeah, be careful with options, please. I say it because I care. All right. And then you wrote, do you think retail investors can make money in options? Yes, but it takes a lot of practice. And the way I teach you in my MBA degree program, and I'll show you just a very quick template of what's included, is I give you 35, I think it's 35 different option strategies, okay? And I teach you everything from scratch. I made this spreadsheet myself. It's crazy. I'm a total Excel nerd, but I teach you all options instruments from scratch using Legos because it's fun that way. And then once you understand all this stuff here, okay, and go through this in a lot of detail and practice options as well with me in the curriculum for at least 6 months, then you can consider investing. Yeah. Yeah. But not until then. 6 months, please. Yeah. And most people that make money in options are the ones that underwrite them and try to rip off retail investors. I don't want that to happen to you. Yeah. All right. Ted, how are you, man? It's been a while. You wrote, Merry Christmas, Chris. God bless you. How dare we not say Merry Christmas? I love you. Thank you for that. You wrote, yesterday when I got home, my kid asked me if I got a haircut. Oh, I love your jokes. My kid asked me if I got a haircut. I said no. I got them all cut. Dude, I love your dad humor. And I actually reuse your dad humor a lot. And I'm looking forward to meeting you in real life at my annual graduation networking event here in the Bay Area on September 27th. And when you meet me, you'll learn I'm a tiny, tiny man. And my kids get so embarrassed by my dad humor. They're older now. But Dylan, my youngest one, what he did one day was he walked into my office, okay? So, and I didn't know he was there, okay? He kind of walked in here. And I was recording a lecture. And the lecture I was recording was, I got a Kanye West song, okay? I got a Kanye West song years ago, and I was rapping. Okay, I can't remember what song it was, but I was rapping one of my lectures. And I turned and I saw him at the door there. And his face was all white. And he said to me, he was horrified. He said, Dad, if you publish that lecture, I'm never talking to you again. Okay. All right. All right, next up, Chris Chanot. Great to see you, Chris. Hope you join us again. You wrote, do you know on Udemy, if you start a course as a free course, if you can convert it to a paid course, can you then email to your former free students through Udemy? Yes, you can. So the way it works on Udemy, which is one of the indirect platforms I sell some of my courses, the way it works on Udemy is, and everybody should teach, it's free to do, please. The way it works is if you have a free course, okay, and you get like 10,000 students to sign up for it, what you can do is you switch it to a paid course, and then you can message them. Okay. Now, if you switch it back to free again, then you can't. I don't think you can message them. The rules change every now and then, though. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next up, ST wrote, Chris, you once recommended a website that has a Q&A booklet for finance rules like investment banking, etc. Can you recommend the website again? Yeah, it's vaultreports.com. So for any of you that want to interview to work in finance, or consulting, and I'm so sorry for the screens here. Give me 1 second. I'm going to show you a great source. Okay, I'm going to go right here. Okay, so it's called Vault Reports, and here it is here. Give me 1 second. I think they were bought. Is it vault.com? Vault.com. Yeah, here it is here. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, so what you do, and I actually use this during business school to help me get a job at Goldman Sachs as well. What you do is you can download PDF reports here that will tell you everything about the companies you want to interview with. They'll tell you everything. And if you want to work at a consulting firm, for example, you can ace your case by downloading books from here. I'm not affiliated with this company or any company. The same thing with any of these firms here, like Home Depot. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next up, Manas wrote, and I read every comment. As Trudeau, who has dropped immigration levels, is housing in Canada cool down? Will this be beneficial for someone to buy real estate per your course? Because demand, yeah, I got you, yeah. So what happened was a lot of people were allowed to immigrate to Canada. And as a result, demand for housing went up materially, and there's a material housing shortage right now that the Trudeau administration is trying to fix, but they suck, because they probably won't be able to fix it. So it could be. One of the things you got to worry about with Canada, though, is the Canadian dollar continues to fall. Okay, you got to be really careful with that. If people freak out and housing prices plummet, I'm going to be backing up the truck and buying a lot of houses in Canada. I own a bunch of houses in Southern Ontario as well. Now, for those of you that want to learn how to make a killing in the long run, okay, I never teach how to get rich quick. What you can do is you can check out my complete real estate course, okay? And for those of you in my MBA degree program, go to the last lecture, you can download it for free. And what I do is I teach you, how to invest in residential real estate. And you can select any region in the world. So in the case study example, I use London, Ontario, Canada, Southern Ontario. Okay. And I help you write a massive 27-page business plan as well. Failing to plan is planned to fail. And it's my goal, my humble goal, for all my students to one day make way more money from your rental real estate properties than you do from your base salary. Okay. And what happens in that course is after you finish it, you print out a massive business plan as well. And if you want to get access to that, it's free for my MBA degree program students. You can go to this link you see right here. And my grandfather used to say, buy land, Chrissy, they're not making it anymore. All right, moving on to PV, who wrote, and I read every comment. So you don't see a problem with Elon Musk suppressing and even banning people for saying things he disagrees with, while forcing things he does agree with on everyone's profiles, hardly free. And you are hardly free speech. Yeah, that's a fair point. Yes, I am against banning people. I'm against what he did, banning people that express their opinions, as long as it's not hurtful. Yeah. Okay, and then Manas wrote, what about Indian students? 11% of my students are from India. Getting fewer visas in the next 3 years. What are your thoughts? Yeah. So for anybody that wants to work or move, I should say, to a certain country, okay, and I'll give a random example of, let's say you want to work to America, you want to move to America. That's your long-term goal. Here's how you do it, okay? You join an American company in whatever country you're in. For example, India, right, where you're from, Manas. And let's say you work at Microsoft in India. You work very hard there for 5 or 10 years. You do exceptionally well. You get promoted a few times. You're going to get to a level where the next level of promotion is they'll promote you to the mothership, meaning Redmond, Washington, the Northwest United States. They will get you a visa if you're good. And if you work hard, it is possible. It's a longer term strategy, 5 to 10 years. I promise you it works. When I was in Canada, Goldman Sachs got me a visa to come down to New York City to work there as well. These big companies, they have deep pockets and they will find a way. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then JK wrote, many said the same regarding GJT, Trump, Yeah. I believe in free speech on both sides. I don't believe in suppression of free speech at all. Okay. All right. All right, next up, Kavish wrote, Chris, what do you think about the insane valuations for the markets? Yeah. So I never look at valuation based on this year's earnings or next year's earnings. What I always do is I look at valuations in 5 or 10 years. And so the way that I value companies, and I explain this in my MBA degree programs, is I create financial models and I look at net income in 5 or 10 years. Then what I do is I value the company based on my earnings estimates in 5 or 10 years. Never look at this year's earnings or next year's earnings. Think longer term. The longer the view, the wiser the intention. So I remember years ago, I owned LinkedIn. Ticker was LNKD before Microsoft bought it. And I also owned Amazon. And when I worked in the hedge fund industry, people said, you're crazy to own Amazon. It's a widow maker because it trades at 100 times earnings. And I would say, no, you're wrong, humbly. It doesn't trade 100 times earnings. It trades at 5 times my earnings estimates in 5 or 10 years. So you got to think long-term and build out your financial model that way. Yeah. And you got to be a long-term investor that way as well. Yeah. The worst thing you can do is check stocks multiple times per day. It's not going to do anything. There's no Jedi mind trick to make a stock go up. Check it every couple of years. I know that's a crazy thing to say and you're going to hate me for that. But Warren Buffett, for example, he's owned Coca-Cola since 1990 or so. And Warren Buffett, whenever he buys a stock, he tells himself, I'm assuming the market's going to be closed for 10 years. Obviously, it won't be closed for 10 years, but that's how long-term focused he is. And we've all made the cardinal sin of selling a stock because it went down. And Warren Buffett once said the New York Stock Exchange is the only store in the world where consumers sell stuff when it goes on sale. Why would we sell something because it gets cheaper? I want you to buy it, the stock you've done your research on, and sit on it forever, okay? And I want you to think to yourself, I'm never selling this stock, right? Unless it reaches your insanely high target price. And when I invest in stocks, and I teach this in my MBA degree program, I like to invest in what I believe are 5x5s. What does that mean? A 500% return within 5 years. Am I wrong? Most of the time, almost all the time. But if I really nail it and I do my research on a stock and it doesn't go up 500%, maybe it goes up 200%. And that's good enough for government work. Close enough for government work. Yeah. So be long-term focused. And all of us have owned stocks, myself included, of course. These wonderful secular growth stocks. And we sell it because it went down a little bit. And if you look at the chart of that stock, whatever it is, over the past 10 years, it's looked like this. And maybe it went here and you freaked out, but it keeps going up. The markets are much higher today, way higher today, than they were, back in 2000 when the dot-com bubble burst. Just like real estate prices are much higher today than at the peak of the real estate market in late 2007, when we were within 24 hours of bank machines not working in late 2008. And the beautiful thing about owning a house, it's the best investment you'll ever make, is you're a stockholder. It's too hard to sell it quickly and flip it. If we could day trade our houses, none of us would have money. Think long term. I promise you it works exceptionally well. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Manas wrote, will Bitcoin be treasury reserve under Trump? He's too focused on it, and it's cool. What are your thoughts? Yeah. So the way it used to work in the United States was the United States dollar was, the valuation was pegged to gold, okay? And, in places like Fort Knox in the United States, they have tons and tons of gold, and then the dollar was based on this. And then Richard Nixon in 1972, the year I was born, remember that guy? I'm not a criminal. Richard Nixon took the U.S. dollar off the gold standard. And the U.S. dollar was based on the full faith and credit of the United States government. And a lot of people think that that's ridiculous. But, the United States government does have credibility. They've never defaulted, and they never will. So I think that the U.S. dollar will always be based on the full faith and credit of the United States government and not based on Bitcoin. Yeah. Do I think that the U.S. dollar will eventually be re-engineered to incorporate cryptocurrency security? Absolutely. And the thing about the U.S. dollar, right, is it's a monopoly. And the way the dollar looks today is the exact same as it looked in 1933. It's really is ridiculous. But monopolies don't innovate. They don't have to, right? But now the United States government, and Trump is smart enough to know, as well as Democrats, of course, that the United States dollar might not be dominant in the very, 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 very long run. As a result, they do need to modernize it. Competition is a good thing for the consumer. They do need to modernize it with better security protocols. Yeah. And then JK wrote, what broker are you using for your IRA crypto accounts? Yeah, I'd rather not disclose. Yeah. But if you want to learn how to do that, what you can do is you go to LegalZoom.com and talk to a lawyer and ask them how to set it up. Talk to your accountant as well. Yeah. Okay. I'd rather not disclose because I can't remember. Just kidding. Manas wrote, what is wrong with Germany? There's political turmoil. Angela Merkel was a smart woman, but the economy hasn't grown. She's no longer, I think, the political leader there anymore, right? The economy has grown less than 1% in the past 4 years. Is Europe dying? So Germany's been through a lot, and Europe has as well, because of Russia's invading the Ukraine. Yeah, which I think is going to be solved within the next 6 months, by the way. And as a result, because Germany gets most of its oil and natural gas from Lukoil and Gazprom, prominent Russian companies, right? So there's been issues there, a lot of geopolitical issues. Yeah, but I'm bullish on Germany longer term. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next up, Albert wrote, Chris, hope you're doing fine. Thank you. Likewise. I want to ask you, what are the real steps I should take now to break into quantitative trading? I come from a finance background, not math or computer science. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, you want to set up a ton of informational meetings with people that work at quantitative hedge funds and mutual funds. You can always go to my website to download this book, as I mentioned earlier. Now, your role model for what quant hedge fund to join, and I want you to analyze the heck out of this, is a company called Renaissance Technologies. Now, Renaissance Technologies was founded by Jim Simmons in the early 80s after he left the NSA. And Jim Simmons, who passed away recently, God bless him. But Renaissance Technologies has had a gross annual average return in their hedge fund of over 60%. Okay, that's before fees, since the 1980s. That's an average return. It's unbelievable what they've done. How do they do it? We don't know, obviously. They're not going to let us know. But they have a lot of black box Linux servers running in parallel that pick stocks. And they've been using machine learning, which is a subset of AI, since the 1980s. So I'll give you an example of what may be included. And this is a silly example, but a lot of parameters feed into Renaissance's infrastructure, okay, black box. And then out of it, stocks are picked. For example, silly example, let's say it rains like crazy in America. Let's say that there's 50 days of rain in a row in major metropolitan areas. Therefore, the Renaissance algorithm might short restaurant stocks because people don't go out to eat as much when it rains, for example. Yeah. And if you want to learn more, go to rentech.com. That's RENTECH.com. And you can go to the About section to see the type of people they hire. They have over 90 PhDs in math. Yeah. All right. All right. Give me 1 second here. Okay. And then Michael, who's one of my students from Nigeria, I think, wrote, thanks for setting me up with Kemi Tade. She gave a talk at a Gen AI network. I'm looking forward to the school project in Nigeria. Thank you. Yeah, she's great. So I actually met with Kemi and her husband and her two beautiful little children in Canada. I introduced them to my dad. So yeah, Kemi's one of my students, and she's become actually a thought leader. Sorry about making you guys dizzy here, but she's become a thought leader in terms of how to raise money, etc. Especially in Africa. She's partnered a lot with the best incubation firms, including Y Combinator. So here she is. Kemi is great. She's wonderful. She inspires me. She graduated a couple of years ago. And then this year, and I recommend you guys watch it if you're curious. So she was actually Y Combinator. She presented on how to raise capital. She's incredibly well spoken. She's great. And for those of you not familiar with YC, Y Combinator is the firm that a lot of the best startups come out of, that venture capital firms invest in. Airbnb was a YC company. Yeah, and Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, used to be the president of YC. That guy can sell. Yeah. Okay. JK wrote, what are your thoughts on Finding the Money documentary of Stephanie Kelton? I've not seen it. Sorry. If it's on, tell me where you saw it, and I'll check it out. Thank you. If it's on Netflix, etc. Yeah. Okay. All right. Jazzy wrote, hey Chris, I'm Jasmine. Pleasure to meet you. Good morning. How can I join the Silver program office hours? Yeah. So I'll show you right here. So just look at the comment you see below. So once you buy the Silver MBA degree program, just go to the first lecture and click for the 1 hour Zoom call that will start in 34 minutes. Yeah, it's every week, 1 hour Zoom call for life. Yeah. And I'll show you what it looks like if you guys are curious. Okay, it's an unlisted Zoom call. Let me go to my YouTube studio here. I'll show you behind the scenes. All right, this will be quick. Please keep typing your questions. I'll get to them in a second. So this is my YouTube channel behind the scenes. This was just published. I'm going to go to content, and I'm going to go to live. Okay, and then I'll go down here and I'll show it to you. Yeah, this was last week. Most people actually, they join the Zoom call, but I do broadcast it unlisted here on YouTube. Let me mute it so you can't hear my awful voice. But here's me answering questions. This is what the Silver call looks like here. This is Manas from Calcutta. This is Carolyn from Canada, from Paris before, and then students from all over the world. People drop in and out to ask questions, etc. Yeah, but that's how it works. Yeah, and I dress down as well, and I get my steps in when I do that. Okay, let me close this to conserve bandwidth and go back here to the next question. Thank you. Okay. Okay, next up, Chris wrote, you probably should mention the lease contracts at times have a poison pill. For a car, they often have mileage limits, and the cost to return the car can be exorbitant. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I used to lease my cars for 3 years always, but I never drove more than 10,000 kilometers per year. Yeah, or miles, I should say. Yeah. And always have your account look at lease contracts before you sign. Okay. Next question is from Profit Pathways FX, who wrote, how do I get into a hedge fund? Yeah. So I'm going to answer this more generically to apply to every job on the planet. Whenever you see a job opening online, you literally have a 1 in 250 chance of getting that job. And the person that ultimately gets hired knows somebody at the company. So these are the new rules of commerce. So what you have to do is you have to network aggressively, okay, in order to meet people at companies. The same thing with a hedge fund. Don't just apply because you see an open job. You got to set up informational meetings with a lot of people at the company, bond before business, then ask during that informational meeting if they're hiring. And remember, closed mouths don't get fed. Go to my website, as you can see down here below, to download this book. Go to harounmba.com. Thanks. Okay. Okay, Ethan, you wrote CC equals community college. Yeah, repost your entire question, and then I'll answer it. Sorry. Thanks. And then PB wrote, an example of speech suppression is that if you say the word something in context of transgender people, you get shadow banned from the platform. Yeah, I don't understand what that means. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the question that is. Okay, moving on to Miguel, who wrote, do you think WS have an age gap to get in? After all, 30 years. Yeah. Wall Street. You're saying, is there an age gap to get into Wall Street? It's like Logan's Run. People used to say you expire at 30. I'm dating myself there. Great old Michael York movie from 1976. Things are changing. Things are changing. And the reason why it's changing in general is because today versus the 1950s, today, the average global life expectancy is 26 years longer Okay, so I'm 52. I'm a 52-year-old man-child. So I'm actually 26. I know it sounds out there, but you got to think of it that way. Yeah. And I think the next thing people are going to go after is ageism, right? It makes me sick when somebody doesn't get hired because of their age, etc. And if you're worried about ageism with respect to how old we are, you don't have to list the year you graduated from university, whatever, on your LinkedIn profile. You can just list that you graduated. Yeah, yeah. And for those of you worried about ageism, let me know exactly what your issue is. Join my office hours call, the Zoom office hours, and I'll help you with your LinkedIn profile on how to sell yourself better. Yeah, yeah. There are no limits except the limits you set for yourself. Okay. Okay, PV wrote, an example of suppression of freedom of speech, sure, is the recent study showing that during the election, pro-Trump content was overpromoted and pro-Democrat content was suppressed. Yeah. Give me a clear example so I can talk about that in more detail. It doesn't sound like that happened to me, though, when you look at traditional media. Maybe you're talking about social media channels, certain ones. If you look at traditional media, Fox, MS, DNC, etc. Most of the television stations, aside from Fox, are leaning towards Democrat. Yeah, yeah. And I believe in freedom of speech. I want Democrats and Republicans to have an equal voice. That's what makes a democracy. Yeah. And I can't believe there's only two parties that matter. There should be more because competition is a good thing for the consumer. Okay. All right. JK wrote, please remember to give Jack Kilby recognition with his co-inventor Bob Noyce, the chip that Jack built. Jack was a modest gent that accepted the Nobel Prize since Bob Noyce is no longer here with us. Yeah. Yeah. Very, very good point. Thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize that Eugene Kleiner was one of the Traders 8 who created Fairchild Semiconductor. He went on to found or co-found Kleiner Perkins, one of the best VC firms in history. Yeah. Thank you for that. Okay, Chris wrote, given the Schiller, I guess Case Schiller you mean, valuation of the market, do you think put options might be a good idea in the coming year? Yeah, if you're worried about your portfolio, yeah, there's nothing wrong with buying put options to protect your portfolio. Yeah, and you can buy ones that expire, in 1 year or even leaps longer term. That's going to be a lot cheaper as well for you. Yeah, and to learn more about that, if you're in my MBA program, just go to FA44. That's Finance and Accounting Semester 4, Class 4 to learn how to do that. Okay, JK wrote, Merry Christmas, Chris. Merry Christmas to you too. I love you. I love Christmas. Yeah. There's 4 stages in life. Stage 1 is you're younger, you believe in Christmas. Stage 2, or you believe in Santa. Stage 2 is you don't believe in Santa. Stage 3 is you become Santa, you have kids. And then stage 4, where I'm getting there, is you look like Santa. Yeah, like David Letterman, crystal meth Santa. Yeah. And I call him Crystal Meth Santa because of Jack Galifianakis, I think, called him that in one of his funny as hell interviews. All right, move on to Lucas Kell. Hey, Lucas, first time I've seen you on the call. Hope you join us again. Wrote, hey, Chris, do you feel that the future for Canada and the U.S. solar energy industries are good or bad? And do you think the U.S. presidential election has changed the landscape at all? Yeah. So the Biden administration, I think it was yesterday, increased tariffs on Chinese solar products by 50%, right, in order to protect innovation in the United States. So I don't think that was the right move. I think tariffs should be quite low and non-existent on anything environmentally friendly. Yeah. But in terms of the clean tech industry in general, longer term, Democratic Party, I agree with them in being very, very focused on clean energy. I think with the Trump administration being elected recently, I think that the focus on environmentalism will slow down a bit, and then longer term will pick up. Yeah. And you could read between the lines there. Trump talks about drill, baby, drill, to quote him, with respect to United States focus on energy. I am worried, though, about tariffs with the United States because, 3 or 4 million barrels a day for United States energy consumption comes from Canada, especially Alberta. And if we put up 25% tariffs on that, then statistical studies imply that the price of gas in many markets in the United States will go up by $1 per gallon. And like I've said before with Trump, he can get a deal done. Love him or hate him, okay? And the way that most people negotiate is one party wants this, the other party wants this, they meet in the middle. With Trump, it's different. One party wants this, Trump wants this, and they meet over here, right? It's just negotiations. Do I think there's going to be 25% tariffs across the board on goods from Mexico and Canada? Absolutely not. But I think what Trump is trying to do is he's trying to protect the U.S. economy, and the ultimate judge of how he's doing when he's president, starting in January, will be how the S&P 500 does. That will be the ultimate daily real-time judge of him. And I don't think he's going to do anything to make the market crash. Now, when it comes to his border negotiations and tariff negotiations, one thing I love about what he's saying is this, love him or hate him, is this, okay? He wants to stop the illegal importation of fentanyl and opioids. And for those of you that have not lost loved ones or good friends to opioids or fentanyl, it could happen to you if something is not done about the illegal imports. And I'm not saying that it's Canada or Mexico that are exporting it directly, illegally to the United States. It might be coming through other countries. But I think stopping that is a beautiful thing because it saves lives. And this crisis, the opioids and fentanyl crisis, is much bigger than you think it is. It's terrifying. It's terrifying. And so if all of this, Trump negotiation tactics can stop people dying, and then eventually, the tariffs are a lot lower than 25%, then I think it makes sense. Yeah. Okay. All right, give me 1 second here. Yeah. Okay. Ro wrote, hi, Chris. Remember I asked you about Sortino Radio 2 to 3 weeks back? Sortino ratio. I don't even know what Sortino ratio means. I'm so sorry. You told me that, and then you said the Sharpe ratio looks at total upside and downside. Sortino focuses only on downside risk. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I don't know anything about Sortino ratio. I know a bunch about the Sharpe ratio. When I worked in the hedge fund industry, I was always asked, how's your Sharpe ratio? Is it above 2 and all that stuff? I never really understood the math. Sorry. Yeah. It's kind of like IRR. I just don't get it. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. And then you wrote, the Sortino ratio is more relevant if you're concerned about avoiding losses rather than overall risk. I just want to expand your and subscriber knowledge. Thank you. Sortino ratio. I will look into that. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Next up, ST wrote, Chris, what is your health protocol? Yeah, for me, I really believe in the quantified self movement. So I just bought the new Oura ring. I had the old one. I'm a marketing VP's wet dream. Sorry. But I just bought the new one. It's great. The battery lasts a lot longer. You don't have the protruding elements in the inside reading your vitals. So I live by this. Okay. And I monitor my deep sleep closely. And you got to focus more time on sleep. And Jeff Bezos, one of the reasons he's so successful is because he always gets 8 hours of sleep a night. He prioritizes sleep. We all need to do that. A lot of accidents in the United States, are not from drunk driving. It's from people that don't get enough sleep. So here's a couple tips on how to get better sleep that I humbly use. Number 1, within 1 or 2 hours of going to bed, do not use your iPhone, okay? Because it gives off blue light, and that stops your deep sleep. Deep sleep is crucial because what it does, it helps your mind restore itself and your muscles regenerate, etc. Okay, it can also help, humbly, in my opinion, I'm not a doctor, with mental health as well, I think. And the way to get better deep sleep is you can wear what are called blue blocking glasses. And there's been studies done on this at Harvard University. And I do this as well. Let me show you the product to order. Okay, and they're really, really cheap. Nobody has a patent on this. All right, so I'm going to go to orders here. Leave. I'll show you the product to buy. Okay, and I bought this for one of my students yesterday who I love. All right, glasses. Search orders. Here it is here. Okay. Yeah, and I got these for my kids. I bought them for people I love, etc. They're pretty cheap. Okay. You can get them cheaper in this too, right? You can buy a pair, two of them for $12, right? Just search online. And what it does is it stops, I guess my wife bought this, it stops blue light from getting through, okay? And if you think that's hocus pocus, meaning BS, do a search on Harvard University health studies on this, okay? So that's what you can do, number one. Number two, to get better deep sleep, which this will monitor, and an Apple Watch, actually, I don't think the Apple Watch monitors it yet. What you can also do to get better deep sleep is only use your bed for sleeping, okay? Don't go into your bed and, watch TikToks, which I do sometimes, to be intellectually honest. Only use your bed for sleeping, that's it. Okay, another thing you can do is don't eat a big meal before you go to bed. Also, don't work out too close to bedtime as well. And what I do is I went to a doctor, an ear doctor actually, and I had them pour silicone into my ears to create custom earplugs, which are unbelievable, right? So I get a great sleep every single night because of that. Prioritize sleep. Yeah. All right. In terms of other health protocols for me, so the first thing I consume every morning is a coffee. And and what I'm about to tell you, people have been doing for hundreds of years. And what I'm about to tell you is going to help you materially increase your cerebral abilities. You'll be able to speak gooder and stuff too. So since 2015, I've been putting in a tablespoon of grass-fed butter into my coffee. I know it sounds out there. It tastes like I put cream in it. That's it. And people have been doing this for hundreds of years in tea and coffee. And it helps with your cerebral abilities, helps you accomplish much, much more. What's also in here is a couple things. And this is all made for me by the time I get up like 6 or 7, whatever it is. What's also in this is a scoop of collagen protein. Okay. That's good for your hair. My hair is growing back. It's kind of nice. What's also in this is MCT oil. Be careful with that, though. It can hurt your stomach if you do too much of it. That's coconut oil. And I also put in this whey protein and a bunch of other stuff as well. This helps me a lot. Then what I do is I have this ready every day. Okay, it's a big thing of vodka, so I can have confidence on these webcasts. I'm just kidding. It's Jen. No, it's not. So I try to finish this as well. I'm clearly behind schedule. I'm supposed to be here right now. It's got the time on the side. Okay. And if you stay hydrated, your energy level goes up materially. Your skin gets better. My skin has started to get better, etc. What I also consume is for about, I think, 15 or 20 years, every Sunday, what I would do is I would create 7 big blender bottles of greatest hits juice. Okay, so I would make kale, I put kale in it and lots of other things. I just stopped doing it though because I'm getting so sick of it. So I've gotten lazy and I've just started drinking this, and then my protein is here as well. Yeah. Another thing I do, and probably the best piece of advice I could ever give from a biohacking perspective, the best piece of advice I can give is this. What I'm about to do is I'm going to tell you how to spend $100 and be 10 times more productive every day. Yes, I'm exaggerating, but I love you. Here's what I do. So I get 20 or 30,000 steps a day while I work in my office, okay? So I've got a $100 treadmill below me, which is great. It's cheap because there's no bars on the side of it. And I can give you the link for this in a second. I have no affiliation. I don't get paid for this. All right. And then what I do is I bring this up while I work as well. And you'll see how messy my desk is right here, okay? So I'm able to get 20 or 30,000 steps a day in, and I can still do my work as well. Obviously, I don't do this during all meetings, but some meetings I do. And I learned this lesson when I was a lot younger, when I was in school. And when I was in school, I found that the first hour of every day, I got a lot of work done. Then when I tried to cram at night for 10 hours, I got nothing done. And the first hour was way more productive than 10 hours at night. And I realized that if I walk all day and I treat this right, this works much gooder. And every hour of every day feels like I just woke up. So therefore, you're 10 times more productive. Imagine that. Getting 100 hours of productivity done in one day. Yeah. Now let me show you how to get this product. Again, I don't get comped for any of this stuff. I just love you guys. I want to help. Okay, so let's go here to my orders. And I will search for treadmill. Here is the product right here. Here it is. Here it is. I said $100. It's 130 now. It goes on sale a lot. So this is the product I use, the exact product. You can get a stand-up desk for pretty cheap as well. Okay, and you can also put it under your couch, etc. Totally worth it. Please get one today. And a lot of my students, actually, in my silver, gold, platinum, and diamond program, have done this. And they've noticed a material increase in their productivity, their health, their wealth, etc. Yeah. Okay. Never be cheap when it comes to health. All right. Next up, Dane wrote, if Robert Hutchins gives admission to the Golden Gates, you're in, my friend. Be ashamed to die until you've done something great for humanity, and you have. Bless you, my friend. Thank you. Thank you. God bless you. I think the reason we're all here is to make the world a better place, right? Make the world a better place than when you enter this world. Do your thing to help. And for those of you that, if you work at a company and you don't think you're helping to improve the lives of your customers, like really feel it, you're helping them, then move on to another company or start your own firm. Yeah. I'm here to help you either way. And God bless you, Dane, for that. And thank you. Okay. Oh my God, Julian, how are you? Yeah, I remember you, of course. Julian is from Bulgaria, but lives in Germany. He was in my first MBA degree program in late 2019. He made over $10,000 when the market crashed in early 2020. He bought companies like Royal Caribbean, etc. He and his son started a company called Grizzy Wear, which is a clothing company. And I love his products. I have a couple of them here at home, and I'm going to show you what he does. So Grizzy Wear, it's really cool. And he actually used Shopify to create this company. And that's his son right here. You can order in English, Bulgarian as well, language there. And here's his products. They're really, really cool. I bought a couple of them. I think I bought the black version of this. Yeah, I have a couple of these here. Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Very cool. It is so good to see you again, man. Welcome back. Yeah. Yeah. And so Julian wrote, hey, Chris, long time no see. I'm Julian from First Class. Question. Sure. When you start a company and make a pre-seed round, what percent of your company is okay to give? That's a great question. Yeah. So when you're first starting a company, what you want to do is raise money from high net worth investors. And you do that because the sales cycle is quite short versus a venture capital firm can take forever. Now, in terms of what percent to give them, I would give them less than 10% or 10% max if you can. And don't value the company too high. So if they give you, say, $1 million, okay, and you give them 10% of the company, then you're walking dead. And I'll tell you why. Because your company, if they give you $1 million for 10%, your company is worth $10 million. And if your company is worth $10 million, there's no way any venture capital firm is going to invest in the A round at a valuation above 10 million. It'll be a down round, which will really piss off or upset your initial investor. So what do? Maybe what you do is they give you $100,000 and you give them 10% of the company. And therefore the value of your company is $1 million. And it'll be easier to do an A round at, say, a valuation of $3 or $4 million. Yeah. And every time you raise money, you're going to get diluted. Okay. You're going to get diluted all the way down. And then when you go public, and you remember, Julie, in the first semester in the FA track finance and accounting, we did a case study on Meta. When you go public, you're going to own a very small percent of the company, meaning less than 50%. Now, if you give up too much to the company, you're going to have voting control and you can be pushed out unless you have clout. Now, Mark Zuckerberg, per the cover of this S1 document, which you can find at sec.gov, Mark Zuckerberg, when the company went public, although he owned well under 50% of the company, he had more than 50% of the voting shares, preferred shares. Yeah. All right. Great to see you. All right. Next up, and we got to wrap up the call in 5 to 10 minutes, guys. And if you guys are in my Silver MBA degree program, what you can do is you can join. And if you're Silver, Gold, Platinum, you can join actually this call. Yeah. All right. Next question. Manas from Calcutta, India, wrote, where is China and its equity going in the next 4 years under Trump? Also, their economy is imploding. Also, Jinping will be here in America for his inauguration on January. Oh, I didn't know that. That's great. What are your long-term plans? Yeah. So for me, like, I really believe in globalization, and I believe in low tariffs too. I do. I believe in globalization because if we're all codependent on each other, then we have to get along. Yeah. So, China's got some issues now. One of the biggest issues with China is that they overbuilt, right? And because of overbuilding, apparently there are many, many, many cities in China that have massive buildings that are empty, just ghost cities. And as a result, they've been dumping lead and steel on the open market, which has been kind of hurting the U.S. economy a bit, which is why the U.S. put up tariffs and why the Trump administration doesn't want U.S. steel, ticker X, to get sold. But I don't think things are going to be as bad as we think they're going to be. Yeah. Okay. All right, next up, Chris wrote, Chris, I have a provisional patent for an AI technique to increase accuracy, filed September 19th, 2024, nice, by my lawyer. So it's patent pending, yeah. Any suggestions on networking to find partners? Yeah. So first of all, whenever you file a patent, the patent courts are really backed up. So it's patent pending, which is almost as good as the patent actually being filed. In terms of networking to find partners, you can join my MBA degree program if you want to, and I can teach you more about that. Or you can actually do one-on-ones with me in one of my coaching programs or my staff by going to this link right here. Yeah. All right. This link here, actually. Yeah. All right. And then Thomas wrote, hey, Chris, I love your courses. Thank you. My question is, what are the chances to make money in the long run by trading options from home? Yeah, by investing in options from home. Yeah, so you can make a lot of money, but what I recommend that you do first before you buy options is you do a lot of research on the underlying company, okay? So, for example, in the MBA degree program, in EMS 4-2, that's Economics Management and Strategy, Semester 4, Class 2, I go through 100 steps on how to do investment research on any company, okay? And I ask you 730 questions. Qualitative questions, quantitative questions, financial questions, valuation questions, etc. And what comes out of this, which again is available to my MBA degree program students, is a one-page executive summary. This is dummy data here, okay? As well as a massive detailed report, and then here, a dashboard. And the reason why I want you to complete this is because I want you to see if this company has massive upside. And so what I love to do is I love to invest in what I call 5x5s, 500% return within 5 years. Yes, I'm more often wrong than right. But if I can nail it and the company goes up a couple 100%, then I can buy what are called leaps, which means call options that expire in 1, 2, or 3 years. And that's how you can make an insane amount of money. Yeah. Okay. And I keep adding to the MBA program as well. I released a real estate elective recently. You can get access to it from the last lecture, your MBA degree program. And then that forensic accounting course is coming out later on this month. And then Q1 of next year, all my MBA students will get for free another course, which is how to do online marketing in order to sell products. Yeah. And next year is all about teaching my students how to sell. Okay. And of course, there's tons of stuff in the MBA degree program on how to sell as well. But I'm going to fine tune it. So I explained to all of you how to use online products like ClickFunnels, etc., and many other online products like Go High Level, etc., in terms of how to sell. Look for that to come out in Q1. Again, it'll be free for all MBA students. For existing and future MBA students, get access to all electives. Go to the last lecture of the MBA curriculum. Yeah. Okay. And I do have to wrap up this call in a minute or so. And for those of you that have more questions, Alexa, stop. yeah, for those of you that have more questions, you could, if you're a Silver student, just go to the first lecture in your curriculum to access the weekly 1 hour Zoom call. Okay. All right. All right. I'm actually, I'm going to wrap up the call now. I see there's a lot more questions. Fernando, great to see you again, wrote, fantastic Q&A session. Chris, wishing you and your family the best this holiday season and the most prosperity for the new year. Thank you, Fernando. Julian wrote, great answer. Thank you very much, Chris. See you again soon. All right, love you guys. All right, thank you so much for participating in this week's webcast. That's week 299. Again, next week is week 300. It's a big deal. And I'm going to have a special guest that you might laugh at a bit. He looks a bit like me on the call. Please like, subscribe, and all that stuff. And I'll see you next week. And I'm going to end this call. Jose wrote, thank God I came across your channel. Thank you. Thank God for you and all my students. So I'm going to end this call with a very quick, life-changing 1-minute interview with Steve Jobs that I licensed from the Silicon Valley Historical Association. Thank you. God bless you. And I'll see you soon.
When you grow up, you tend to get told that the world is the way it is, and your life is just to live your life inside the world, try not to bash into the walls too much, try to have a nice family life, have fun, save a little money. But life, that's a very limited life. Life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact, and that is everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you. And you can change it. You can influence it. You can build your own things that other people can use. And the minute that you understand that you can poke life and actually something will, if you push in, something will pop out the other side, that you can change it, you can mold it. That's maybe the most important thing, is to shake off this erroneous notion that life is there and you're just going to live in it, versus embrace it, change it, improve it, make your mark upon it. I think that's very important. And however you learn that, once you learn it, you'll want to change life and make it better, because it's kind of messed up in a lot of ways. Once you learn that, you'll never be the same again.